Hi everyone, my name is Nuno Henrique Franco. I am a researcher at the I3S at University of Porto, Portugal, and I am also the president-elect of ETPLAS, which I will now present on this talk. This talk aims to introduce the Education and Training Platform for Laboratory Animal Science, or ETPLAS, as a reference for laboratory animal science and 3 R's training. But first, a very quick overview of the legislative framework for education and training in laboratory animal science in the EU. The EU Directive 2010/63, in its Article 23, states that the staff shall be adequately educated and trained before they perform any of the following functions. Function A, carrying out procedures on animals. Function B, designing procedures and projects. Function C, taking care of animals. And function D, killing animals. But this begs the question, how to ensure harmonization of education and training across Europe? This led the European Commission to set up an expert working group to develop a common framework to facilitate meeting the requirements for competence and free movement of personnel. The output of this expert group was the guidance document that you can see on your right. This guidance document defines modules for laboratory animal science education and training, which include the core modules that are common to all EU functions A, B, C, and D, as well as the function-specific modules and modules for additional tasks and skills, and also other additional modules. As you will see further in this presentation, the European Commission has defined additional modules that go beyond the ones that are defined in the guidance documents. There is a list of 14 core modules and function-specific modules, and then modules for additional tasks or skills, which include anesthesia for minor procedures, advanced anesthesia for surgical or prolonged procedures, principles of surgery, advanced animal husbandry care and enrichment practices, a module for the designated veterinarian, as well as for project evaluation. Other additional modules include introduction to the local environment for persons taking specific roles under their directive, and information provision and retrieval. The main question from professionals in need of training are: what education and training do I actually need? Where can I get it? Is my training valid in other countries? And does this course have the minimum requirements? Course providers, on the other hand, would ask what are the minimum requirements for setting up a laboratory animal science course, and how can they ensure that they meet mutually recognized standards. The Education and Training Platform for Laboratory Animal Science was set up to give an answer to these questions. It is an European platform at which information on education and training can be exchanged, and this was proposed in the guidance document. ETPLAS was first established in 2014 by a steering group and aims to be the EU and beyond one-stop shop for education and training in lab animal science, for information sharing and communication. It was originally set up in the UK, but because of Brexit, now we have a branch in Spain. The aim is to provide information and tools for the delivery and assessment of high-quality laboratory animal science training, and a forum for exchanging information on laboratory animal science education and training. So it put together member state authorities, core providers, and course accreditors, and aims to facilitate the process of mutual recognition of education and training in laboratory animal science, and with it the free movement of personnel across the EU and also to non-EU European countries. It was established that ETPLAS should gather key European stakeholders, that it should not add bureaucracy or control on the approval or accrediting processes. So ETPLAS is not an accrediting body. So the goal of ETPLAS is to facilitate and inform. For instance, by publishing a list of the available courses that are formally recognized by competent authorities or accrediting bodies. So it establishes and harmonizes standards for education training in laboratory animal science for instance, by defining learning outcomes and by publishing forms for directly observable procedural skills for the assessment of competence in those procedural skills. It was not originally set up by the European Commission. It was recommended by the expert group that the European Commission set up, but it is fully endorsed and largely funded by the European Commission. To offer e-learning courses, to also have an ETPLAS exam platform, and to develop a resource library for third-party content. This led to the ETPLAS pilot project funded by the EU. The pilot project has 5 working groups that together aim to develop further guidance for producing assessment criteria for the learning outcomes, to develop a database of assessment criteria for core and function A specific modules, to develop a questions database for theoretical core and function A specific modules, also to develop a library of direct observation of procedural skills for assessment of commonly used practical techniques, and lastly, to establish a fit-for-purpose ETPLAS IT platform where all of these resources could be hosted. The goals of the pilot project have been fully accomplished. From the working group 1 and 2, you can already find published in Laboratory Animals the working party report with the accessible learning outcomes for the EU Education Training Framework Core and Function A specific modules. We now have a question database of 1,000 questions that we will launch in the form of an online exam that course providers can acquire from ETPLAS. We also have the DOPS database and a video explaining what DOPS are, what their usefulness is, and anyone can access this database and download the DOPS and apply them. And if everyone applies these DOPS, we will ultimately have some level of harmonization in how competence is assessed regarding practical skills. And of course, we have a full-fledged portal where all of these resources can be found, and even other EU-funded projects have developed e-learning courses that correspond to EU function modules, some of which were already described in the guidance documents and are well known to most of the laboratory animal science community, such as EU 10, 11, and 25. But it also includes modules that were not originally described in the guidance documents, including EU 12 for the severity assessment, EU 52 for searching for existing non-animal alternatives, which we will all agree is a necessary step before even considering using animals for scientific purposes, and also an additional module, EU 60, for how to develop non-animal alternatives for regulatory use. All of them are freely available to anyone who registers at the ETPLAS website. It should be noted that the e-learning modules in and of themselves should not be seen as sufficient. They were developed to be used in a blended learning approach that combines the e-learning with face-to-face teaching, but they can be integrated in existing courses or followed on a need basis. The courses that we have on the website are expected to be complemented with further development of the material, either face-to-face or otherwise. Our laboratory animal science course list is being updated. It is based on user-submitted information, so course organizers voluntarily publicize their courses on our website. We are upgrading this feature so it can be searchable, and also that course organizers can directly enter the information into a form, and then it will automatically appear on the website. So, as I told you previously, ETPLAS aims to become EU's one-stop shop for education and training in laboratory animal science. The project is on track to deliver all of its objectives within the time frame of the grant, and the deliverables include the web portal, the e-learning modules that I described and that are already freely available to all, the database of exam questions that we will present in the form of online exams for course organizers, and the database of DOPS sheets. We expect that the expertise that was developed under this pilot project grant will continue to tackle other EU functions in a similar way in the near future. Do remember that we have a searchable resource library where you can host images, videos, PDFs regarding laboratory animal science and the 3Rs, and submissions are open and welcome. We expect more e-learning modules to soon start being developed. And also bear in mind that our course list is built on voluntary submissions, so please send us your course information. I would like to acknowledge and thank first and foremost Anne-Dominique de Vries, the ETPLAS Pilot Project Leader, Jan Bas Prins, the ETPLAS Pilot Project Deputy Leader, all of the Executive Committee members who are also co-authors of this presentation, the ETPLAS Stakeholders Board and the ETPLAS Stakeholders Group, and the ETPLAS Pilot Project members. Of course, a great thank you to the European Commission, who has been the main funder so far of ETPLAS. And thank you for listening.